1,
2,
3,
4,
5. Okay.
6.
Oh, okay, Riverside. Real easy. My name is Nick the Villain, and this is the Nip.
Jasmine Black, and this is the Nip.
So let's practice our intros. I feel like if we say this is the Nip twice, so what do we say?
Maybe we shouldn't say the Nip twice. Maybe I should just introduce myself.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead. Do it again.
My name is Nick the Villain,
I'm Jasmine Black.
and this is
The Nip.
the Nip. How you like it? What you think?
I hate it because I came in late.
My name is Nick the Villain,
I'm Jasmine Black.
and this is the Nip.
Welcome.
I'm a sociologist, and I have my degree in sociology and a background in women's studies. I actually studied abroad as well at Oxford University, and I studied the sociology of religion. I feel like my brain, my thought process is definitely sociologist. It's very rare that something is happening and I'm not thinking what causes what. Um, the other thing about me is I believe love is love. I don't identify as any specific sexuality. I really feel like we focus too heavily on that. I really identify with loving high quality, high value people. Feel like we should definitely get into that at some point. What do I think a high value person is, and what do I think a high functioning person is? Because those two things are very separate, and I can't do one without the other. Other than that, I pretty much feel like you'll figure it out. So, Jasmine, talk to me.
I think you left out sociopath as well.
Oh, she's a Virgo.
I did the eyebrow thing because she said she has this, this certification in women. And I'm like, she does. I'm Jasmine Black. I am a serial entrepreneur and just a habitual
liar.
You hear the texting in the phone, right? Y'all can hear the texting, right? I can hear the texting. Does she know that we can hear the texting?
What is that? I'm not doing that.
I hear texting. Somebody hacking our. Do you hear that? Are we being hacked?
This is crazy. I'm not. You see my hands. How am I texting?
I'm not texting. My phone is locked.
Yo, the devil is at work. You're on the switchboard, so that probably means you pressed something that was like.
I'm not.
Yo,
you didn't hear somebody just trying to.
You thought that was me? That was not me.
Who got it? But you were looking down, so it looks like you're texting.
No, hands free. Listen, like I gotta do this the whole time. Go ahead.
At the end of the day, I'm Jasmine Black. I have. What the fuck?
After 3 years of going uninsured.
Hold on. Let me see something. Mikkel, come here real quick. But why would it be connected to my thing?
Look at you.
Wow. Well, we are not being hacked. My son accidentally connected the TV to the robot.
And you see how she blamed me immediately? Okay, well, let's note that.
Let's get back into this. Okay, I'm Jasmine Black. I am a serial entrepreneur. I am 33 years old, and I'm still figuring it out. This is my friend Nikita. We met each other. I don't even remember the year. What was it? 2017? I think it was
before that, 2015.
Okay.
It was before 20, because I moved to Florida 2017, so it's 2015.
I think I remember when you moved to Florida for that short time too. Yeah. But we met each other on an airplane. We have two different versions of the story. We don't have to get into the long version of the story, but I remember sitting next to her. I thought she looked really cool. And I don't remember how I sparked the conversation with her, but I do remember her face. And it was like that. Like, why are you talking to me? And I just kept going and talking to her. And I just thought she was so cool. She just kept responding. We exchanged numbers. I think she did it unwillingly. And we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, she bullied me into being her friend. She's very consistent and persistent. Follow through, because I don't follow through at all. With friends, with meeting people, I definitely do not. But you follow through. Good thing you did. I'm grateful for your bullying. I'm grateful for you interrupting my rest on that flight.
I think we were both coming from Philly.
Yeah. Yes. Because at that time, no. Because why would we be coming from? Would you be coming from Newark Airport? Because I
No,
moved from Newark, New Jersey to Atlanta.
we both lived in Atlanta. So maybe we were getting on the plane and I was going to Philly.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty. I feel like I'm pretty sure we were. It's possible that I was flying out of Philly because, yeah, it's possible.
Throughout this friendship, we lived in Atlanta me and Nick lived in Atlanta with each other. Throughout this friendship, Nick has
Not
been
with each other,
incredibly supportive.
just in Atlanta.
That
I
sound
need
like
to be.
we were living together?
Yeah, you said when we live in Atlanta, when we were living in.
Oh, yeah, because we don't live in Atlanta anymore, but we used to live in Atlanta, not together. But Nick is incredibly supportive of me. Not only did she come to the strip club where I worked at, she comes to my events.
Not for
She
leisure.
comes to the
I just
club.
came
She
to
brings her
support. I
friends.
will support it all.
And she brought her friends. They support. She's just a supportive person. That's why I'm naming all the things she come and support. So no, she wasn't just coming to the strip club. For the people who didn't know, I used to be a stripper. Yes, I used to be a stripper. Look it up. I don't care. But Nikita, she came to the club. She came to my events. She answers my phone calls. She sits in the office with me. We started a podcast before everybody started a podcast. Before podcast was a thing, we had a podcast called The List, LIST. And the Instagram is actually still up, so you guys can go see past stuff that we did. And we had a friend named David, and we miss David.
We no longer have this friend because
And
of
David,
Jasmine.
no, we have the friend. We just haven't seen the friend. The friend, he's still around.
He ghosted us, basically.
But he's definitely here in spirit
Let's hope.
because he inspired this podcast.
So look, this is kind of what it is. So from who I know, Jasmine, Jasmine Black, she is the sweetest, kindest, has always been the most like thoughtful, very validating person and human. I mean, I've heard things about Virgos, but I have never really experienced the darkness that Virgos usually bring with her. But Jasmine does have a tendency to say things that will end a person's life. Not on purpose though. It like usually comes in like confusion or question. So this particular day, I believe David was having like a heart to heart with us. He was a very heart to heart type of guy. So that was one of the things we loved about him is like he would just be so open about like super transparent things. In this particular day, David wanted to be transparent about, let's call it a deformity. Is there like the proper, listen, I don't have the proper terms. My name is Nick the Villain. You're going to villainize me regardless. So he had a deformity on his body and he was trying to like tell us about it and how he had like accepted who he was and, you know, whatever. And then he showed us a picture of his nipples and they were, again, not going to be politically correct here. They were like soggy. Like they were hanging down. Almost like the best way to describe it is like if someone was fat and then like so only his nipples were fat and then he lost a lot of weight and so the nipple just stayed. And Jasmine made jokes about it. Like she was very much like almost like she didn't take his deformity seriously and he did not find it funny. I don't even recall exactly what you said. Do you remember what you said? But whatever you said, I was just like, yeah, he's not laughing with us, sis.
The problem that I'm having is not finding out until 2024 that I offended a friend in the company of another friend that never told me this whole time. So you would think that if David and Nikita, they bonded like on a what's astrology level? I don't know. What was he
He was a Pisces.
Yeah,
And
they had a different bond. So I start feeling kind of outside of the friendship a little bit because I'm like, they are bonding like on some astrology shit. and I'm the Virgo. I'm the evil Virgo here. So, this is the thing. Okay. I'm really awkward and weird. So, and I'm just now being aware of that because I thought I was normal. But the more I get older, the more these stories come out of people telling me I've offended them once upon a time when I really wasn't aware that I offended people. So yes, he did show us his nipples, and he was trying to tell us that he basically had breast. That's how I remember the story. He was basically trying to say I was born a boy that ended up having breast, something like that. I remember the story being like that. We're gonna have to find David so we can get the correct story. Are we even supposed to be telling? Matter of fact, don't find David. Don't find David. Okay. We don't even want him to know that we're telling the story. But he inspired the podcast, so we have to tell the story. So I'm reaching out to Nick. We've been friends for a while, and I felt like it was like some weird division with us. We haven't spoken a long time. Life has changed, and I wanted to catch up with my friend. And we talked and was like fast forwarding our relationship and just saying, hey, it's been a while, and rekindling ourselves. And she said, well, Jasmine, you're known for doing these things. And I'm like, what did I do? She's like, well, you remember David? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, remember he was telling us about his nipples and you said this thing and you laughed. And I'm like, yeah, I thought we both found it funny. She said, no, he did not find that funny. So I didn't
David
find out
is
until
not laughing.
2024 that David was offended in 2018. So now we're talking, and so we're going through the conversation. We addressed that. We laughed, we talked, and I said, wow, I never knew that. I need to reach out to David and apologize. And throughout the conversation, we both were like, Nikita was like, I want to do a podcast, and I want to do it, with someone that I could vibe with throughout the podcast, and somebody's consistent. And we were like, well, how about we do it? We agreed to do it. And then we said, well, what should we call it?
The nip.
And literally,
Die laughing.
the nip.
Very villain of you.
With every bad thing, there's a good story that can come out of it. That's the lesson I got out of that.
How is this a good story? I guess because we get to laugh about it. It's still a terrible, atrocious story when you think about it. Because, like I said, he was not laughing, but we are, and I guess that's life. It is what it is.
Right. So shout out to David. He inspired the nip. And this is Nick the Villain. I'm Jasmine Black. And what do you think is our purpose for this podcast, Nikki? Like, what is your purpose for being here? Like, what? And I'll tell my purpose, I guess.
I think that so it's a couple things. I think that they're trying to quiet Black women. And another thing about Black women is we are not a monolith. And I feel like we have different views and different perspectives. So I think, this whole stigma of angry Black women or Black women versus Black men and just all of these different like stigmas and theories, I would like to speak for myself. I'm kind of tired of people speaking for us, so to speak. So I just wanted a healthy platform to be able to do so. But also, I'm stepping into my villain era. And what the villain era for me means is a disassociation with being a people pleaser, which is crazy to even think about because I feel like if most people would think about me, they would never think that I'm a people pleaser. But my therapist really had to read me down one day, and she allowed me to realize that I was doing things and performing things and mostly trying to control my narrative because I wanted to be able to control what people thought about me, only to realize that I can never do that. So I would make choices and decisions for the sake of wanting to be able to control what people were saying about me. And that was making me do things essentially to please people for the sake of being able to control them. So my villain era is about saying F that, essentially, and just being able to speak openly to things, speak truth to power about things, whether you like it or not. Because at the end of the day, no matter one thing I've learned in my auntie era is that no matter good or bad that you do for people, you will be the villain in someone's story.
We're literally in the same era. And I think that's what attracted us to doing this project together. Although it's not the first time we did a podcast in Atlanta and it was going well. So I think that I'm also in a villain era. And I think for me, villain era is an era of truth, an era of authenticity. Did I say it correct? I've been jacking that word up all week. Okay. So I think that's what villain era means to me. And I feel like throughout my life, I've been compressed, suppressed, and I've also been, called a problem child or a problem adult. because I like to be in truth, and I'm tired of it. I wanna be myself, and if being myself equals villain, I will 1000% love to be the villain. And if truth equals, you know, a villain personality, I want that. I love truth. I love being open and honest and having open, honest conversation. And what I love about us doing this is I've always felt that from you from day one. You like, it's really hard for me to have friendships with other women because I do 1000% agree that my friendships with women are way more emotional than my friendships with men. Um, the men would never show that I offended them or something, or like they would never be weak to me and say, "Oh, you hurt my feelings." But girls,
I'm not gonna let you say that.
they
So being weak. Oh, no. I'm not letting you do. I'm not letting you get it off.
what?
So you said verbatim, they are not going to be weak to me by saying that I hurt their feelings. So
No,
are you saying that's what you said?
no, I'm not saying that it's weak to say that. I'm saying they don't want to appear weak by saying that to me, like a girl. They don't want to tell a
Appear
girl.
weak.
Yeah, they don't want to like appear weak to a girl and say, you hurt my feelings, even if I did, or they're not easily. I haven't heard from a guy that in a friendship, that I've been so easily offensive to them. I will say that my friendships with girls throughout my whole entire life, childhood and up, they've been I have to be very cautious of my jokes. I got a little bit of dark humor. I have to be very cautious of my jokes. I have to be very cautious of even criticism and things like that because, I lost a lot of friendships growing up because of criticism or my opinions. And because I guess truth is harsh. So I guess some girls would consider me harsh in a way.
And that's crazy because I feel like you've never ever said anything to me that I felt like wasn't out of love. I don't know that that's your role in my life either, though.
No,
Like I don't know that. Yeah, I don't think that I feel like if there was an older, younger, I'm definitely big sis in that. But also, we've disagreed on a lot of things,
peace.
and you challenge what I say. So it may not be like in the frame of like advice or whatever the case may be, but we disagree on a lot of stuff, and I've never felt that you were disrespectful towards me or we just had a difference in opinion. You know what? That's actually what I like. That's exactly why I think this podcast is needed because I feel like people don't know how to disagree right now.
Right. And still be
So-
friends and be okay with it.
right, and still like accept these people in your circle. I think the election taught us that like a lot of us disagree on a lot of things, but rather than coming to an agreement or some type of understanding about each other's side and still moving forward, we kind of just distance ourselves even further. And
Right.
I don't want to push that narrative. I want people to be able to see two black women disagree on many things, maybe even change our opinions or positions on things, but also not change our opinions and positions on things and still be loving toward one another and respectful toward one another, which I think is very important.
I agree with that because I feel like there's been and also I'm really easy to talk to, and then there's sometimes I may be strong about an opinion in the beginning and you may say something that makes me I'd be like, wow, I never thought about it that way. A lot of people ego don't even allow them to do that. Some people have been so like hard up on their opinion for so many years that even if they were to hear something that makes sense, they have lived their life with that opinion for so long that they'll be afraid to let it go. Not me. Like
Mhm.
I have an opinion on something that I've known for a long time or that I've felt for a long time. If you say something to me right now and I have an aha moment, I will let it go because I want to grow and I want to move forward with this new perspective. I don't want to hold on to things afraid of change or
That's exactly why people are stagnant, though,
yeah,
Jasmine. I think that there's a reason why America is in the position that it's in. People are committed to their ignorance,
yeah,
committed. And if you're committed to your ignorance, you sincerely cannot grow. And I
no,
think that is what's going to differentiate the winners from the losers is the people who have um, an open platform to be able to share dialogue and change and shift and transition and pivot during these like strange next 4 years in an effort to be able to grow.
yeah. And people, I think the worst type of person is a person that holds on to ignorance for dear life just because it benefits them, or because, like we said, they're afraid of the fact that they probably been living a lie. Like, that's the worst type of person. It's like, I
It's
know this
called
is wrong.
delusional. It's like an abundance of
That word,
delusional.
yes, delusion.
Delusional. That is my word. That is my word of the last like 5 years. Because
Yeah,
I can show someone actual facts. I actually posted this on Facebook the other day. I posted the crazy thing about a delusional person is you can actually show them numerical facts.
yeah.
And they're still, I can literally say, I just feel like I'm surrounded by people who are going, 1 plus 1 is 5. 1 plus 1 is 5. And I'll go, here's one, and here's one. Now count it out. 1, 2. So how much is 1 plus 1? 1 plus 1 is 5. 1 plus 1 is 5. And I'm just like, how do I show you the facts? And the reality is they're delusional. I think delusional is the next mental illness. And there's no cure.
Uh-huh. I agree.
There's no cure.
And you're doing it to yourself. It's like a self-inflicted. You're
It's
literally making the
insane,
choice. Like,
bro.
yeah, yeah.
The other day, I had a staff member, right? It was a Virgo. I really can't stand y'all. I love you, but when I say I cannot stand Virgos, they irritate me to no end.
You have to find
It
out if
is
it's August or September,
it's
though.
the heightened level of delusion, bro. Okay, I'm gonna give you the exact story. It's brief. This man came into work
Oh, this is
from
a male Virgo. Female Virgos don't even claim the men. So go ahead.
he came into work. He worked from 3 to 10.
Mhm.
From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., someone else was there. They made, let's say, $1,000 for the day. At the end of the day, we made $2,200. Actually, not. Let's do it actually more accurate. We made $2,000 at the end of the day. He sends me an email, and the email says, I made $2,000 by myself. When you say I need to work on things, you're not talking about sales, right? Sir,
Just completely took
I
credit.
literally sent him the data. I said, here's the actual data because the computer records who sells what, when, at what point, all of that, down to the time, second, everything.
Right.
And I said something in regards to, well, what I'm looking for is leadership. And one thing a leader doesn't do is boast of how he did everything by himself and his team did nothing. But here's the actual facts, the actual numbers that support you actually didn't do it all by yourself.
Right.
He still disagreed. How do you disagree with facts? You know how? Delusion.
Delusion. I have to force myself to believe another reality.
It's insane. It's literally insane.
But you don't think that goes back to the fear of, like I said, that it's like it's an ego thing, because I have to let go of what I've literally worked myself up to believe. I have to let that go and accept the truth or the real reality. Like, I think
I cannot make sense out of delusion, Jasmine. And I
yeah.
don't know. You're very powerful, but I don't know that you can. I cannot fathom this.
Well, we know it's not a Virgo thing, so let's not.
No, the other Virgo did it as well, and they thought that I needed them. I honestly think it's something wrong with my. I'm starting to really feel like it's something wrong with my character because I continue to get a plethora of people who, when I meet them, they have such low self-esteem and they're like at their bottom. And what I do is I build them up, I build them up, I build them up, I build them up. And then one day they get to a point where they think I need them.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you couldn't have done this without me.
Yeah. Where actually you were the one they needed all along.
Like, what? You
Yeah.
can go. I made you think that you were great because I didn't want you to be this low. But in reality, everything that you've done, I taught you how to do. Therefore, what? I know how to do it myself. Therefore, what? I don't need you.
But
You are not needed.
imagine building somebody up. They're building them from the ground up to the top. And then they give you that energy back as a way of appreciation, and then telling you that you wouldn't be you without them.
Oh, yes, that. Yes, that. Big Virgo energy. Big Virgos. That's what I've been dealing with. And it's all men. I'll give it to you. I haven't met a Virgo woman that did that. An Aquarius woman, maybe. But yeah, I've been there and I'm just like, God, I literally talk to God like, what am I supposed to do? I don't want these people to be so low. I want to feed them. I want to build them up. I want to, make them feel confident and da 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 da. And it just always turns around and bites me in the butt to the point that I have a new perspective, which is almost expected. I'm going to be the villain at some point. Even though I built you up when you had absolutely nothing, at some point, I'm going to become your enemy.
Yes.
You're going to forget every single thing that I ever did for you, and you're actually going to think you're doing me a favor.
Yes.
So it's just, I pre-accept it now.
Wow. But don't blame yourself for why you're attracting them people. Leeches like blood. Like, I always hear that saying too. Well, it must be something about you that's Yeah, it is something about me. I'm a great fucking person. So people who are weak and their energy is low or they need help, they seek out strong people. So it's nothing. I don't think it's anything poorly about you. It's something amazing about you. Now you got to set boundaries.
Yeah. I had to work with my parents for that. I was not great at setting boundaries. The first boundaries I had to set was for my family, for sure. Those be the ones.
Those be the ones.
I'm sure you could speak to that more so than anything. Like, can you name a time where you feel like you were forced to set a boundary?
Yes. Well, that's it for this episode of The Nip. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2.